Yeah. We're going to talk about the emotional health and mood management. Those of you who are on here that I don't know, I work as a psychologist in the Pittsburgh area, and I do a lot of health and wellness consulting overall. So what has really drawn me to using essential oils is people can get a response very quickly, and they can get a response in a very concrete way. So in other words, they can go from feeling wound up and anxious to feeling calm in a much more effective way than if they're taking, say, an anti-anxiety medication or using a breathing technique. That the oils work very quickly. So let's go over and see how you can use them the best. So a lot of the effects of emotional distress is that we have so much going on in the world today that people are really exhausted emotionally and physically. And we get negative moods such as discouragement and fatigue. And over time, it just accumulates and it builds. If you think about how snow accumulates, right? And it might melt a little bit, but it doesn't go away altogether. That's what happens with our moods. So we have there's a picture of the brain. In our brain, everything that happens is due to our electricity and the chemicals in our brain, which is why essential oils can work in such a great way. There are about 100,000 miles of blood vessels in the brain. And if they're stretched out, it would circle around the earth more than 4 times. So when we say that our bodies are amazing, they are really amazing. So the oils work because you have a small drop of an oil or a lipid molecule, and that molecule passes into the outside lining of the cells, which also have an oil base. So when that happens, you can have an effect rather quickly. You might also know that they're small and lipid molecules. The oils support the body physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And by applying just one drop, you can get an effect in the whole system within minutes. It will be absorbed in the skin in about 30 seconds, and the whole body will feel an effect usually within about 30 minutes or less. So the power of aroma is something that is just so amazing. You know, what we've learned is that that is like a key sense in our brain, is that being able to smell something. It's a protective mechanism. You know, imagine when we were, not us, but our long ago relatives were living in the caves. You had to know if there was smoke or if there was an animal, outside. And so that sense of smell would literally save your life. And that now what smell does is it brings back very strong memories for us. More than any other sense, it can bring up memories, change moods, and really ease tension. And it does help to know that your sense of smell is 10,000 times more sensitive than any other sense. Also, smell recognition is immediate. So we've all had good smell experiences and bad smell experiences, but it's just altogether amazing. So here are the facts: 10,000 times more sensitive, and it can change your moods, your memories. Now, why does this happen? So here's a picture of the brain, and this is our olfactory system, which is right at the top of the nose. So when you inhale, I'll use this as my pointer, it goes up the nose and right into the olfactory bulb. And this is actually, the nose is an outer extension of the brain. So inhaling is the fastest way to get that aroma or those molecules to your brain. If you've ever had any surgery or dental work, you know, they're not likely to give you, sometimes they'll not give you a pill, sometimes a shot, but they'll put a mask over your face because you are going to get that medicine so quickly. And so the molecules then go to the olfactory bulb, which connects to the amygdala and the limbic system of the brain, and this is the emotion center of the brain. So that's why when you diffuse something like lavender, you can feel calm very quickly. There's the limbic system. So it's said that essential oils communicate to the limbic system, and they can recall or release stored emotions and memories. And you can even recall memories that have been with us since childhood. And I've had times where people have smelled a particular essential oil and literally burst into tears because it moved them so much. It reminded them of this, you know, something that occurred to them, with them, you know, within their lives as children. So it's very powerful. So just as a reminder, so the amygdala is the center for your emotions, your emotional behavior, your motivation, and stimulating it can really cause intense emotions. Okay, now, emotions, memories, hormones, and your autonomic influence. That's all there in the limbic system of the brain. So our moods are this complex interplay of emotions and physical components. And, you know, even though I worked as a psychologist for over 30 some years, I can't say that I always truly understand emotions, although I'm surrounded by them and I deal with them every day. But there's definitely a chemistry in our body that creates what's going on. So there are a few ways we can look at this. We can look at our mood continuums, where we go from having a lack of peace to feeling passionate. So that's one continuum. And you know, a lot of the time too, you might want to remember emotions are the cause of many physical illnesses. So our moods are this interplay between emotion and the physical components. Then we have, so the emotional side, then the physical side. If we're stressed, and the opposite might be fatigued. Then they put together what's called an emotional continuum, where you may be a combination of fatigued and have no peace, or no peace and stressed, or stressed and no passion. And so this is a helpful way for us to imagine what's going on inside someone's brain. Oh, somebody's ringing. Oh, is it me? I don't think it's me. Okay, so what your goal is if someone wants to be calm, composed, there's an oil that's going to go with that. Oops. And then, so that's number one. Number two is feeling invigorated, stimulated, motivated, because when people are really worn out, like they can't do anything. They can't get up off the couch. They can't go outside and take a walk. The third is where they need inspired, encouraged, their moods to be uplifted. Now, this is a great time of year for this particular talk, because January and February are what I'd call the low mood months, because we have such little light and such short days. And then the fourth one is what the goal is for someone to be more grounded, reassured, or consoled. So there are different goals that you might have when you're working with somebody. So the oil that would work in category one is serenity. It promotes relaxation and restful sleep, and it lessens tension and really calms emotions. And this, as you know, comes in not only in the bottle, but they make a serenity capsule, which is lavender essential oil, and I'm trying to think of what else is in there. There's a chamomile, and I'm blocking it out, but anyhow, it's a combination that goes great with the Serenity oil. And now they're going to tell us about Serenity. Calming, promotes sleep, lessens tension. I have people where Serenity works better for them for sleep than lavender. And I'm not sure why one works better than the other, but I'm always, I have that as my backup if one doesn't. The next oil that's on this continuum is Citrus Bliss. Citrus Bliss really helps reduce stress. First of all, it does have an amazing aroma, and it uplifts mood, and it really affects mood by energizing people. It's boosting, calming, clearing, elevating, all those good things. This is the oil that is used in the emergency room at Vanderbilt Medical Center. And what they found is it calmed the patients, the doctors, the nurses, the hospital staff. There's been a great study that was done around that. And if you want to find that, you could Google, just look up Vanderbilt essential oils, and it'll tell you how that study was done. It's one of my favorite ones in my office. The next category, you want to use the oil Elevation. So Elevation is uplifting, mood elevating, energizes, promotes a positive mood, lessens sadness. Oops, go back a minute. Lessens sadness and anxious feelings. I've had people tell me they love the smell so much that they wear it as a cologne, or they'll mix it with something. So again, you look at what kind of mood needs to be changed. The fourth one is balance. We all love balance. It creates a sense of calm, well-being. It gives a whole body relaxation, just putting it on the back of the neck, putting it on your chest, wherever you like, diffusing it. And it really lessens stress and brings harmony to the mind and body. So these were the first oils, the mood oils that doTERRA came out with. And I always like them. They are the go-to oils that I go and I use within my office on a really regular basis because they hit so many aspects of mood. So the next category is emotional aromatherapy. In emotional aromatherapy, these are specific blends that are geared towards specific moods. So you may want to identify the mood you're feeling on the emotional aromatherapy wheel, which most of us have seen, and we're going to see in a moment. That helps you correspond with the blend that is right for you. And you may find that maybe 2 or more blends are appropriate for your emotion at that time. So this is how the box setup is. You get all 6 of the blends if you buy them together, or you can buy them separately. You can also buy them as roll-ons, which is really cool. Somewhere here I've got one. No, I don't know where it is, but having the roll-on is great because you can apply it easily. So here's, each blend contains doTERRA's CPTG, therapeutic grade essential oils, and they can be used aromatically or topically. And this shows you a bit of how you look at it. So now, as instead of a matrix, you have a wheel with all of the different moods specified. And what they did is they came up with, they looked at the oil chemistry, in other words, the unique chemistry of each of these oils. So for instance, Motivate up top is a combination of a citrus and a mint. So it will be helpful for someone who is insecure, apathetic, discouraged, gloomy, distressed. Cheer is a combination of citrus and spice. Passion is spice and herbs. And so you can see they became much more detailed about what is actually in the blends. So here's one that we'll talk about first, which is Motivate. That promotes feelings of confidence, courage, belief, and it counteracts negative feelings of doubt, pessimism, cynicism. As you see, you can use it aromatically, topically. It says apply to shirt collar before giving a speech to instill instill feelings of confidence. This is, in fact, what Dr. David Hill does before he gets up and speaks before 35,000 wellness advocates. I think I would take a bath in it if I had to get up and talk to that many people. And it's a great oil. Cheer, this is one I also really like in my office. Cheer promotes feelings of optimism, cheerfulness, happiness, and counteracts those negative feelings of being blue or low. Again, a great one to use in February. And you can see here the ingredients. It has unique ingredients. And again, it can be used aromatically and topically. You can, I like the tip, you could put it on a cotton ball, place it in your car to have that aroma while you're driving. Passion ignites feelings of excitement, passion, joy, and it counteracts feelings of boredom and disinterest. And this is, you could diffuse this at work, you could diffuse it at home. Again, it just helps give people that sense of more energy and vitality. Forgive, it's a very woodsy oil. It promotes feelings of contentment, relief, patience, and counteracts negative emotions of anger and guilt. This you could have on throughout the day to just diffuse or put on your body. There was a study that was done on Forgive, and that was done, I believe, at the University of Arizona's oncology clinic, where they found that this was the most mood altering of all the drugs, or all of the oils and drugs that were being presented. And so it's just really good to know that, right? I mean, when I first tried them, it was my favorite. Other days I might be in the mood, and cheer is my favorite. So you go with what you think is good for you, but also you look at what your mood is. Console is a great oil. It promotes feelings of comfort and hope. It's a very good oil for grief, sadness, hopelessness. You can see very powerful oils up here: frankincense, patchouli, ylang flower, ylang, sandalwood, rose. I mean, if you were to put together the most dynamic oils in a combination, this would be one. Then there's peace, and peace promotes feelings of reassurance, contentment. It counteracts anxiety and fear. And I love this oil tip. You can calm and upset a restless child by putting it on the bottom of their feet. So, there's not just lavender as your go-to. You notice we haven't even talked about lavender here in the moods, but lavender is in many of these different oils, from the emotional aromatherapy and also the mood matrix. So now what you want to do is you want to come up with your own routine. Pick oils that speak to you. In other words, sometimes people have an intuitive sense of like, what is it that I need? I've been shocked at times. I've picked something intuitively, and then I did an Itovi scan, and I came up with at least one or two of the same oils, as I'm sure you've all had this happen, as what I picked intuitively. So trust your intuition for yourself, but also for your customers. You also want to pick what is pleasing to you. There are some oils that I cannot get enough of. And again, we all probably have that. For me, frankincense is that, or frankincense and wild orange together. I mean, we just have something where you just feel like that's what I'm going to, apply if I'm feeling stressed out. It helps to journal your feelings. You can record your experiences so that, let's say you have another day when you're tired, like yesterday in Pittsburgh anyhow, it was rainy, it was foggy, it was gray, it was everything. And to find something that really uplifts you can make a big difference. And so record it, because we think we're going to remember and we forget. Okay. let's see what the recommended reading. Oh, here we go. So one of the recommended readings is by Daniel McDonald. It's Emotions and Essential Oils. What he basically does, and he actually has a team, he's not the only one who's written the book. He will take the oil and break down all of the details about what does it mean emotionally. Then he also flips it to the other side is, well, what if I'm stressed out, what oil would you suggest? I call it like a nice resource book, but everybody's different. So we're not cookie cutters. So we use that as a resource. This is another good one, Feelings Buried Alive Never Die by Carol Trueman. She just talks about where do all these feelings live and how do you release them. Oops. Okay, we'll come back to this in 1 second. The other book, and I don't have a picture of this one at the moment, but this is one that Dr. Wendy Weaver-Graham and I wrote, which is on using different essential oils to balance your mood and journaling about that process, discovering what works for you. And that uses all the emotional aromatherapy oils. And I don't know how much we go over this at the end, but I just want to say, if you're not on the loyalty rewards, but I believe most of you are, it's one of the most amazing things you can do because you are really able to get products back in exchange for the purchases that you make over several months' time. And I had the exciting news to be able to convey to someone, because I looked at her back office and I said, you have 500 points in there. Go use them. So, they add up and you can really I've tried every product there is thanks to the loyalty rewards. So I'm going to, oh, there you go. There's a picture up. No, I don't know any of those people, but does anyone have any questions? Any questions? I know that you perhaps have already studied Healthy Home and Body. I know we flipped up. So our keyword is mood. That's the word. And please make sure that you send this to the new people who are on your teams, because I think they will find that having these short segments of education will be so helpful for them, because especially in the emotions world, people aren't exactly sure which ones to use because there are quite a few out there. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Everybody's quiet.
So Carol, I don't have a question, but I just had a comment. You were talking about serenity and why sometimes it works better for people to rest and relax than lavender. Well, a lot of times lavender will invigorate me, and I use that serenity every single night before I go to bed. I use it on my feet, and I also take the serenity capsules, and I have an amazing sleep. So yeah, the serenity really works for me.
Well, I think also the serenity is more complex. The lavender is only lavender, and the serenity has other ingredients in it. It has vanilla in it, and I should know what the other
ylang,
right?
It does have lavender in it too.
Yes, it has lavender, but it has a mix,
right?
And that does seem to help. All of our chemistries are different, so it's finding whatever works the best for someone. So if you were to go use something right now in the emotions world, what would you all think about using? It's not quite bedtime, just as a fun quiz,
So I would use Balance, because that's what I use every day as my perfume, because I'm always going in 1,000 different directions at one time. So that just grounds me. It doesn't make me sleepy, but I can tell when I haven't used it. And I also use it on all of my dogs. So it grounds them.
God. Why didn't I think of that one?
Yeah, it calms them down. I have 3 large ones, and now I have a puppy, right. And it calms them all down and makes everyone love to live with each other.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna write that quote down. Yeah, I think that it is a really, I mean, we're going to have ones that are our favorites. I remember one time Lori said to me, it was Christmas time, and she's like, I feel so scattered. I'm going to have to, like, go and put balance on right away. And I thought, oh, right, balance. Sometimes we forget the ones that are like the best, right? So, okay. Well, we promised we'd be done in 30 minutes because and in fact, Lori and I were talking to some folks about down the road doing even shorter segments for some summer fun. So any questions you have, feel free to ask, and then pass this along to those on your team, especially your new enrollees.
Thank you, Carol. That was really wonderful. We're blessed to have such an expert on our team to teach us about such an important topic for our lives. Yeah, it's really a huge blessing. So thank you, everyone. And next week, I think it's Leslie's going to do this healthy home and body, no? Okay. Who is it? I'll have to get back to you on that.
I did that last week.
Oh, that's right. We flipped
Right.
it.
That's right.
That's right. So, yeah, it's a mystery to me right now what happens next week. It'll
be really good. Whenever it is, it'll be really good.
It'll be really good. I think it's body systems with Jackie then. So anyway, yeah, stay tuned. It'll be good, whatever it is, and have a happy Valentine's Day week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Bye.